Greetings, peace be with you. In this video, I want to share with you some big picture principles on the practice of semen retention. All right, if you're already on this path, that's amazing. Perhaps you're going to gain something more nuanced in this video so that you can continue to level up your practice. And if you're just starting, then this is the perfect video for you because you're going to understand why this practice is so important and how to implement it properly. Okay, and make sure to stick to the very end of this video because you're going to understand the fourth principle, which is so important in letting go of toxic energy in your life. All right, and not even allowing it to come in the first place. All right, so before you start semen retention, why actually go on this practice? Right, that's the question. It's like, why do it, man? It feels good to bust nuts at the end of the day. All right, now there's some woo-woo stuff around this. Oh, like maybe you find it woo, right? Oh, life force energy, what even is that? I don't believe in that. Okay, now the first thing to understand is that semen retention, the benefits of it are dime in a dozen. Okay, you can read about anecdotal evidence at the end of the day. I don't know if there's any scientifically published research because this is not the stuff that will generate income for anyone. All right, actually perhaps damage the income of like the pornography industry, which is a multi-billion-dollar industry. All right, so why do this? Okay, this is not about anything other than physics. All right, you're like, whoa, physics and semen retention in the same video? Okay, physics as in the first law of thermodynamics. All right, the first law of thermodynamics states that energy cannot be created nor can it be destroyed. It can only be transformed from one state to another. Right, so understand that sperm is what fertilizes the egg. Right, it's what has the energy to create a new life. Right, think about that. A new life, how much energy do you think that it takes to create a new life? Right, I would guess it's a lot of energy. Right, and if that energy is not being directed towards creating a new life and it's being directed towards flushing it down the toilet or busting it into a tissue paper or a Kleenex, then that energy is being wasted, whereby there's none left over to actually allow for other activities that could be more beneficial. Right, so understand it's physics at the end of the day. Energy cannot be created, cannot be destroyed. Your body utilizes a certain amount of energy to actually create semen. All right, now if you want to go into the yogic philosophy, I think it's like 40 to 60 40 to 60 drops of blood is what they say creates one drop of semen. And the Taoist philosophy, they say it's 100 drops of blood that creates one drop of semen. So that's just these ancient mystical traditions that say that. But also understand that modern science has found that it's a treasure trove of vitamins and minerals, right? All of these essence of what it takes to create a life. And that's the physics of semen retention, right? Understanding, okay, it's energy at the end of the day, right? Everything is energy. Energy is everything. And when we're letting energy go without a cause or a productive cause, right? And the cause is, I suppose, like the dopamine fix that's going on in your head, right? But when we're letting go of it without the cause of creating a child is when we are letting go of energy that could be used for something else, right? And that's why it comes down to transmutation at the end of the day, right? The transformation of that energy towards something else, right? Napoleon Hill talked about this in Think and Grow Rich and Outwitting the Devil, about how transmutation is the one thing that high performers have in common, right? How they're able to use this energy that they have inside of us, right? That is inside all of us and each and every single one of you, right? And how how high performers are able to actually channel that energy and direct it towards something else, right? What is that something else? Well, that will vary depending on where you are right now, what your unique gifts are, what your unique abilities are, what you uniquely love to do, right? What the world will pay you for. As this loud ass tractor passes by, okay? And it's going to be unique to you, right? At the end of the day, I think that I subscribe to Abraham Maslow's model, who says that, at the top, once our basic needs are met, once our psychological needs are met, then our need to self-actualize becomes as essential as our need to breathe, right? When we are not meeting this need to self-actualize, to express our potential, is when we are experiencing the emotions of regret, disillusionment, and anxiety, right? As we strive to close that gap between who we are and who we're capable of being, then we begin to experience joy, fulfillment, love, happiness, peace, right? Someone once told me the definition of hell. He said that it's the place where who you were meets who you could have been, right? Think about that for a second. Because if you go to your creator, whatever you believe, right? At the end of your life, let's just imagine, do a thought experiment that you are this person and then you are introduced to someone who you could have been, who's like leveled up and maxed out on every area of his life, that would truly be suffering, knowing that I had so much inside of me but I didn't have it to give, right? So why you practice semen retention is because it has the energy. And where do you direct that energy? Towards creating, right? Towards creating a life that you love, creating the relationships that you love, creating the abundance that allows you to experience all that this world has to offer, right? To create and sculpt your body, your hardware, in the image of what allows you to take you where you want to go. Your body is your vehicle, right? It's going to take you where you're going to go. And if it's not functioning optimally, then there's some energy that's not being directed towards that, right? So all of these areas, right, it's all about transmuting the energy towards transforming it, right? Energy can only be transformed from one state to another, right? So actually channeling that sexual energy, which is the source of our creative energy, and creating what we are here to create. You will create something different from me. I will create something different from someone else, right? What is it that you are here to create, right? That is the sixth sense, right? Get clear on that before anything else, right? This practice is great, but if you're just trying to get chicks, then this is probably not the right channel for you anyway, all right? Because that comes as a byproduct of you walking your authentic path and purpose, right? I'm all about getting to the core, about getting to the roots rather than addressing the symptoms, right? Rather than learning some pickup lines to go and talk to some girls, it's all about becoming the type of man that is actually valuable and actually authentically expressing themselves so that you can actually connect with someone who vibes at that frequency as well, right? So transforming and transmuting that energy is the second principle. Now, the third principle over here is all about balancing polarity, right? Polarity is the masculine and feminine energies that we all have, right? Of course, males have more masculine energy, females have more feminine energy, unless she's a feminist, right? Feminism promotes masculinity. And went off track over there. It's all about balancing that polarity, like I said, right? If you are developing and cultivating that relationship with someone, okay? I made a bunch of other videos on this as well, but it's all about harmonizing that energy through our poles, right? It's like, it's hard to explain in this video right now. I'm just getting clarity on how to do that right now. But it's like when you are in that deep, passionate, loving relationship with someone and you are practicing semen retention, all right, that's when you know that there's a difference between ejaculation and orgasm, right? You can begin to actually cultivate that energy without letting it out. You channel it up through your energy centers, go through her energy centers, and then you can actually balance that polarity, right? And once you begin to balance that polarity, that is when you begin to become whole, right? I don't know who said, I think it was Elliot Hulse. I was watching his video once. He was like, in order to become fully man, you must become woman first, right? Because at the end of the day, we have both of these aspects within us, and when these aspects are not in harmony is when we begin to express ourselves in ways that are not exactly optimal, right? When we have toxic masculinity, it's probably like there's some aspect of femininity that is being suppressed over there, right? Because anything that you suppress, repress, or try to escape will eventually express itself in a way that is not exactly serving you, right? So balancing that polarity with that masculine and feminine energies within you so that you can truly begin to experience that wholeness, that fullness, that oneness. And eventually, once you actually get to that level of allowing and having those orgasms, the multiple male orgasms, right? The tantric sex, which is a practice in itself, which is going to take a long time. I have a bunch of videos on this channel. Okay, you can search for some exercises that you can do to really build upon that. But this is, like I said, an introductory video to that. Once you get to that level is when you can begin to experience transcendence through the practice. And transcendence is really about, like I've mentioned in previous videos as well, when the division between subject and object disappears, the division between you and your partner disappears, the division between you and the universe disappears, and you just experience that oneness, that wholeness, that unity, right? Sounds all airy-fairy now that I'm talking about it, but I just hope that I can get you on that path so that you can experience that as well. And the more people that experience that, more people that wake up to the reality that we are all one, right? The source of life is all one, and we're going to return to that source. We came from that source, and once we can actually begin to live like that is when we will have a transformed society. We'll have a transformed humanity as well, right? So, you know, it's crazy because in the modern society, there's like a lot of taboo around sex. There's a lot of guilt. There's a lot of shame, at least in the culture I was brought up in. But as we go and seek wisdom from these ancient Eastern traditions is when we begin to actually look at sexuality and spirituality as two sides of the same coin, right? Now, the final principle over here before you start semen retention is avoiding sex without affection. Okay, because look, it's an energy exchange at the end of the day. And I mean, in my own journey, I definitely was in a situation where I was seeking validation from sources outside of me, right? Thinking that if I was able to sleep with someone, that it would somehow validate me in the eyes of being able to sleep with someone who was attractive, right? But if that affection is not there, then it is a toxic exchange, right? When I'm trying to get something from someone is when that it becomes and sets the foundation for a toxic relationship, right? It becomes parasitic. And when two people are coming together in a parasitic, toxic relationship is when you actually begin to take in that energy within yourself, and then it just damages other areas of your life as well. So definitely something to avoid, and be aware of your own intentions when you go around meeting someone you find attractive. Like, it's not just about the physical, right? It's about the energetic, about the metaphysical. And if that chemistry is not there, and you are in the situation where you have, I'm speaking from personal experience, okay? When I say you, I really mean I. When I was practiced in certain routines and rituals that I learned from, certain circles and like pickup artists and stuff like that, how to actually facilitate that conversation, then it becomes pretty effective. But at the end of the day, it's like you wake up the next morning, you're like, what did I just do, taking in all that toxic energy, right? So your energy is the only thing that you have. Take care of it, all right? And be aware of any influences that you allow into your energy centers, right? Because all our environment is affecting us, and if we are not creating the environment, then the environment ends up creating us, right? We become products of our environment if our environment is not a product of us, right? So just the final point to keep in mind, all right? I have a bunch of different videos. The first one that you're watching, I know there are a bunch of new subscribers coming in right now as well, so just want to shoot this about the 4 principles on how to go about this, all right? And for sure, I'll link out to a bunch of videos below as well. I hope you got value from this one. It gives you some perspective on the big picture, because this is a path which will take practice, right? They call it sexual kung fu in Taoism, and kung fu is a combination of 2 words. Kung meaning time spent, and fu meaning skill, right? So it's like time spent doing skillful work. This is not something that happens overnight. It's not something you're gonna gain from a video. So I encourage you to dive deeper into the works of Mantak Chia, which deeply influenced me, to the works of Tantra, right? If that is something that tickles your fancy as well. But there's a bunch of content on this channel as well. I'll link out to it below. But like I said, I hope you got value from this. Okay, leave a comment below letting me know your number 1 takeaway. Subscribe if you have not already. Click the like button. Really helps the channel grow as well. And leave a comment below, man. Like, let me know what's up with you, what you're struggling with, because I love interacting with you guys, and any way that I can serve, I'd love to help you out in that direction. Okay, so with that, I conclude this video, and I'll see you in the next one.